Hey, what's up guys? So we have some new cards to check out, and now apparently Magi Bullets are now the new Dragon Rulers, the new Zoodiac. It's a tier 0 format according to most players. I would have to slightly agree with them, but I want to talk about how we can kind of combat this new deck. But there are two new cards I want to go over. Then I want to share with you guys some gameplay showcasing off like the examples of where the new card would be an excellent example of how you can actually use it in the game. Both of them are not added into Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro yet, but the examples will be excellent that I can showcase with you guys. So anyways, first off, let's go ahead and go over the two new cards. And apparently with these two cards, like I said, a lot of people are saying this is a tier 0 format. This is the new Rip Your Wallet deck. It's the new pay-to-win deck. Anyways, Magic Bullet Dancing Needle. So it's a normal trap card that says you can only activate a card with this card's name once per turn. If you control a Magic Bullet monster, you can target up to 3 cards in the graveyards and just banish them. That's pretty simple. Just lets you get rid of stuff, and you know, against like a lot of different decks, a lot of decks utilize the graveyards. The whole Vendread archetype. If you banish the key cards in that deck's like done. And then on top of that, we have another new card. Now, it's kind of crazy how someone actually found out this card got announced. It's not even on like a lot of different websites yet. But anyways, there's a picture of a bunch of the Magic Bullet cards. This is one of the newer cards. In this picture over here, we have the 12 cards right here. Then we have like their boss monster. I'm not sure if we're going to get any more support, but this is one other card that just got announced. And that is the Magic Bullet Dead Man's Burst. And this card makes the deck from like an already insanely strong deck to like, okay, you want this deck to be the best deck, Konami. I already can smell it. But anyways, it says if you control a Magic Bullet monster and your opponent activates a spell or trap, negate the activation and destroy that card. Pretty simple. Stop spell and traps, which was like their only way of actually really losing was like a Dark Hole after Ties of the Brethren. Like that play was so strong against this deck. Now, like I said, I want to showcase examples of where these other cards would be really good to utilize in the game. So the first one over here, you guys are going to see. I know Monarch's irrelevant, but the whole point was to showcase an example of where Dark Hole would destroy this deck. Because a lot of times with this deck, you don't really want to open up with that many monsters. You just want to Ties of the Brethren, you want to go for your play to get out multiple monsters, and then you Toon Table and get the effects, and you have all of their spells, but you don't have any other monsters. Like your whole investment was just right on the board. Like look at this. With the exception of Magical Mallet, like unless I draw like another monster next turn, I don't really have any options here. So Dark Hole would completely destroy me, but I was also thinking that I can get this card back potentially with the effects of some of the other cards, like for example the Shooter Doctor could let you add back the card. But anyways, he goes ahead and starts out, and unless I played it immediately and I tried to proc the effect, I wasn't going to get Dark Hole, protection against Dark Hole. But anyways, so yeah, he activates Dark Hole, and this is like the only way the deck really just like lost was mass removal. This card, any of the uninterrupted Kaiju Slumber. I sacked him here, let's be honest. I got down to Ties of the Brethren, and then from here it was just over. Like there was one example where having that negation of the spell or trap would have been really good, and at this point the guy's just like, dude, you won the game. I mean, I had so much advantage here, saw Magical Mallet. It was already over. Now, I also want to get into the negation of Spell and Trap, because, again, that card was really important, and most of the duels, guys, they're honestly not too, like, hyped up. It's just, it doesn't matter what my opponent's playing. If I just negate, like, one card, like, a lot of them will leave and dip out. But I also want to talk about how to beat the supposedly Dragon Rulers or Zoodiacs 2.0, which is, again, the Magi Bullets is what people are saying. But anyways, let's go ahead and showcase the duel against Magispectors, because this deck kind of counters this in a sense, because like what do I do against this deck? The only thing I can really utilize at this point is to double my attack, because all of the spell and traps are going to be kind of irrelevant. I know this card technically can let me protect my monsters. I was able to drop an Honest. I felt really confident with another Honest here. I was like, okay, maybe I can just beat him down, but I'm going to go ahead and proc the effect of Calamity, get back another card over here, and activate Toon Table, again procking their effects to get some extra searchers out. I decided to go for this. Keep in mind, guys, the new cards were not added at the moment. One problem with adding the, well, he had Tornado anyways, but one problem with dealing with Tornado is even if, because I know someone was going to say, well, you could just boost up your attack and just try to get in some damage in, because there's a card, the Sniper card, that lets you double your attack. However, the problem is still Tornado, though. Because he can just banish my cards, and this protects them from being destroyed, but I can't protect my cards from being banished. And again, if I had that quick play, or not quick play, it's a counter trap card, I could actually stop his Tempest, or I'm sorry, his Tornado. Tempest is completely different. This is Tempest. But anyways, yeah, just tribute one, and negates the activation or when a monster would be special summoned. This card doesn't really help out too much if I have Devil's Deal out on board. But again, this is like the problem that I had against this deck. I think Magic Spectres definitely can counter it until that new counter trap card gets added. Because that, again, would have helped out. I believe at one point he searched out Tornado because I knew he had that. Because again, doubling my attack wouldn't have done any good, and I just kind of admitted defeat at this point because I don't know what I could have relatively done against this deck. Actually, hold on. Well, I think I already used my summon at this point. It just goes and summons a bunch of cards and I have to blank board. But that could be the counter to this deck, is actually Magic Spectres. Now, I'm not sure how good this deck will be. Again, we're going into the next format with the whole pendulum mechanic, and that deck's not going to sit too well. But I really feel like this is a hard matchup for this deck. Again, you'd have to add the counter trap card and stop the Tornado, because Tornado, again, will prevent you from doubling your attack because it's just the monster's going to be gone. But yeah, that is pretty much what I want to go over. I have some more replays, but they're really like, I would say mediocre. I kind of want to just talk a little bit about the deck and about its weaknesses. Now, this is the build that I'm currently running. I mean, it's pretty much every build that you're going to see is going to be running Toon Table contents. This card has actually jumped up in price. Same thing with this. However, I also wanted to talk about how to counter the deck, because the new counter fairies, oh gosh, it's not actually called counter fairies, counter trap card. Let's try this. Okay, so if you guys didn't know, there's also a new counter fairy structure deck or starter deck coming out in the game, and it's all, of course, about counter trap cards. Now, some of the counter trap cards aren't even that you have to activate them. The new Angel Sage Minerva actually works when your opponent activates counter trap cards as well. It's just whenever any counter trap card is activated, this card is going to technically be a threat, because with a 500 attack boost, it becomes able to attack over everything, minus, of course, using the other spells and I guess the traps to get rid of this card. But whenever anyone's activating a counter trap card, we only got one. I know we're only getting one new counter trap card, but this technically still boosts up this guy, and we're definitely going to get way more cards because it's a new structure / starter deck, and we only have, I think, 3 cards announced. I've already done a video on the new counter fairies. I'll link it down below if you guys have not checked that out. But it's kind of one of those decks where it's got to go first and it's got to open up good. Otherwise, you don't have a chance. I think, again, Magi Bullets have a much better chance to be much more competitive, simply because Ties of the Brethren is just like game with this deck. And on top of that, if you open up like Toon Table Contents and the 1 cast bar, or I guess technically you can open up Calamity, or if this is in the graveyard, but Shooter Star also lets you go into it, and Ties of the Brethren now has a target for the level 4. I've only really liked 1 Calamity, and this is just my build, but keep in mind, this isn't really that efficient on the extra deck. These are, someone's gonna be like, dude, why does he play Mystical Sand? Someone's gonna try to back me up on it, saying he plays this because, guys, it's just here as a prank. Do not copy this deck. This is just something that I was testing out, and like I said, the new cards are not added in yet at the time of me making this video. However, I feel like the counter fairies, they have a little bit of play against this deck, because the way to beat this deck is just to stop the first summon. Heck, you can run, what is that, back, what is it, pulling the rug? Is it pulling the rug? No, is this when it's activation? Oh, there's a, forced back, that's the card, forced back. This is going to be an excellent card because whenever you stop the normal summon of this deck, like, they have 0 follow-up, which was basically showed off in the Magic Spectre duel one. Once he got rid of my other card, I didn't have a follow-up play, and he's just going to Pendulum for a lot. Now, I know, again, Pendulums are going to be less relevant going in to, I guess, I would say, the next ban list, or once the whole Link format. I know someone's going to be like, it's not Link format, it's not a new format. People are pretty much calling it. It just makes it easier. It's like saying when we're going into Link mechanics, is that maybe Link mechanics, we'll use that word, but this is basically how the deck loses. It's just to stop the 1 summon. Heck, you can, well, okay, let's be honest, you're not going to be able to bottomless trap hole because they have access to this, and on top of that, they have access to negating spell and trap. So pretty much what it comes back to is anything that bounces back is really good, or banishes. Banishing and bouncing back, it's kind of hard to respond to. However, with some certain cards, you're able to, you know, obviously chain your stuff, so maybe you can kind of get rid of one of their cards, proc an effect. It all depends on that. I was also thinking Forbidden Lance wouldn't be that bad of an option with this deck, so you can try to protect yourself. However, I think it's just outclassed because of the new card. Because, again, the main problem that this deck had was because of Dark Hole. or if they would try to stop your summon. Obviously, Lance not going to work against Force Back, but I think that Force Back might be a card some people would consider in the side deck. I know that this card did see some play against some other decks that like relied off of their summon. Like for example, like Gladiator Beast. If they get no summon, there's no War Chariots. There's like a lot of their cards fall apart because everything relies on them having a Magic Bullet monster to activate all of the cards. But let me know, guys, how else you would really counter it. Again, I think just stopping the first summon, there's really no follow-up play. And again, Magispectors, I think they have a pretty decent matchup. Again, I didn't have that card in the duel to utilize the double attack and you get over the Magispectors and attack. But again, I think that deck will... I don't know. Do you guys think that there's anything else? But I also want to ask you guys, my viewers, because again, I've been checking out what a lot of people say on different Yu-Gi-Oh forums, and everyone is saying this is the best deck tier 0 confirmed. I think it's very, very strong. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure if I would consider it the most OP deck. I don't know if it's going to be a Dragon Ruler like format where there's basically like you play like 1 or 2 decks and then that's it. But I definitely agree with you guys that this deck is definitely top tier. Again, they've just gotten like everything. They got Stop Graveyard, they got Stop Spell and Trap, and that's a counter trap card that you can activate from the hand. That's insane. And I feel like Ties of the Brethren is really what makes this deck. And if this card goes, this deck is going to be hit significantly indirectly. But it's not part of the archetype. But this also stops Counter Fairies because Counter Fairies is new, and why wouldn't they just try to support the new stuff? So I'm not sure if Ties would get hit. It definitely did go up in price. But I really like this card. Try out Magical Mallet if you guys are playing Magic Bullets. But I'd love to get you guys' feedback. Do you guys think that this deck is OP and it's definitely going to be a Dragon Ruler format? Or do you think people are just overhyping and overreacting? It's not Zoodiac's 2.0, but I think it's very good. And don't get me wrong, definitely a top tier deck. And I want to know what else like kind of counters the deck. At the moment, I can't think of anything other than Magispectors because a lot of duels I've been just rolling over people. One thing is Peace, the True Draco. This card is still pretty annoying to deal with. Like the real answer to this sometimes is like doubling the attack of the other Magic Bullet that hardly anyone plays, which is the Simil. But other than that, the whole deck just it generates so much advantage and it's so just rapidly fast, and it's annoying to fight if you're not playing like this deck, or if you don't open up like really optimally. This deck just like it eats you just too fast. You can't really grind game this deck either because like they activate one card, it's just too much generation. So this deck has excellent grind game, excellent consistency, and it's fast, and it doesn't require the extra deck, and it doesn't really require special summons. And like there's so many mechanics that this deck just beats everything. Like, oh, you're playing like something that you can't synchro, or you can't like do this. A lot of things rely off of the spell and trap, and there's not too much spell and trap negation that's in the meta right now. Well, I guess the Magic Bullets have something at their arsenal now with that new card, but I feel like I'm ranting on long enough. You guys get the point, and you guys got the information on the new cards. Let me know your thoughts down below, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the vid and dropped some knowledge for you guys. If you did, drop a like on it, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you'd like to see more Yu-Gi-Oh discussions like this. But thanks for watching, and I am signing out.